crazy little thing called Love Dev. Today's episode is 121. Name and shame. It's Father's Day in the UK. Depending on when you're listening to this, maybe you're in Lithuania and your Father's Day happens to fall in October, and you're astonishingly listening to this podcast episode right now. In the UK, it is on the 16th of June this year. I don't know whether it changes. Is it always on the 16th of June? No one really knows, and no one really cares, I think. As a father, I'm not quite sure. Mother's Day is always bigger than a Father's Day, isn't it? But is Father's Day made for commercial reasons, just like every other celebration? Or is it generally, it's Father's Day, I'm taking me dad out, or stepdad, whoever you call the father. Could be a friend, could be an uncle. Anyone can be your father if you feel like they're my father. Maybe it is, I don't know. Maybe you're thinking, what are you talking about, Love Dev? I have no idea, to be honest. My kids got me a mug, not this year. I got that last year, and it says Dad on it. I love that mug. It's one of those big mugs, so whenever I have my espresso coffee in the morning, like proper coffee, Colombian stuff, mate, filtered, yeah, that's me. I always have it in that mug because it's lovely and it's big. I'm not quite sure what the kids have got me this year. I'm going to have to wait and see. Maybe I can tell you on the next podcast what I got. But I'm going to take a guess. It's going to be socks. If it isn't socks, I'll be surprised. Actually, saying that, my daughter was wearing my socks this morning. And I was like, what are you doing? You wearing my socks? And she just looked at me and laughed. So, yeah, kids, they don't even ask, innit? They're just like, yeah, whatever's that is, I'm taking it. It's mine now. So they've actually gone to see my father today. Maybe they've got him something, because my daughter had something in her hand, and I thought, oh, she's going down to her granddad's house, which is very unusual, because my kids never go down to my grandparents. Not my grandparents, but their grandparents. So she was like, I'm taking Ishan, who's my son. She's like, I'm taking him with me, and we're going to go down and see. We're going to go and see grandma and granddad. I was like, oh, lovely. Okay, crack on. Gives me a chance to record the podcast. Yep, I've had a mad week of gigs. This week I was in Didcot. Well, I was near Didcot. I was in a place called East Hagborn. And they've got a West Hagborn, so I was on the east side this time. One of the poshest villages I've ever seen. Like, when I pulled up, I was like, this is proper scenic. And you know how you know it's middle class area. This looked like more middle class than middle class. Is there a class higher than middle class? I don't know. It looked like royalty, basically. I got there, I got on stage, and I said, this place looks so safe, I've actually left my car unlocked. In case the gig goes bad. So I got a quick escape. I was wearing my t-shirt, Boys in the Hood t-shirt, and I felt overdressed. Or was it underdressed? I was like, I'm too ghetto for this place, man. That's what I said. I don't think they got half of that material, to be honest. That's the trouble with middle class areas. They don't really get cultural references because they don't have any people of colour in their neighbourhood. And if they do, it's probably the postman or the guy on the corner shop. That's what it probably is. The gig was okay. I don't think I did as well. I'm not too sure, to be honest. That's because when I look at people's faces, I can normally tell if they're enjoying it. And the trouble is, as comedians, we always look at the one who doesn't seem to be enjoying it, or they're not sure which bits they're meant to laugh at. And I seem to get that a lot at the gigs that I do. Yeah, but I've had some other good gigs. I was at Bracknell Comedy Cellar in Bracknell, which is a weekly comedy night, and I didn't realise it was weekly. I thought it was monthly for some strange reason. It was okay. It was lovely. Got to meet 2 Australian comics who were both great. Then today I went and did a festival called Wentworth, and it was raining so much, they should have called it Wetworth. Because it was wet and it was worth it, if you get the joke. Yeah, that's what I've been doing. I haven't really got a gig this evening, which in a way I'm not really that fussed because I've already done one during the day. And I feel like I can just chill now. I can have the whole afternoon to myself and just do whatever I want. I don't know what I'm going to do, I'll be honest. Probably just play my video games, which is what I usually do. I should be doing some writing, but I have done writing. What am I talking about? Now, I'm writing on this bit, right? I'm not going to go through it, but the other day I was driving and I saw this guy who's parked at the lights next to me. And I basically just glanced. I don't usually look at other drivers, but I glanced and I noticed he had 2 sat navigation systems on. And I thought, how unconfident this person was within himself. Like, why did he have 2? Is there a reason behind that? Was he heading to one destination first and then another one? So he's got both on? I was really confused. But anyway, I'm writing material about that, which I think is funny. I'm not too sure. But hey, if you don't write it, you will never know. That's a beauty in comedy. Talking about never know, how about we do a Ask the UK? Let's see if we can help somebody out. This question has been posted by On the Horizon 722 on Reddit, as always. And the question they asked for Ask the UK is, can you be stopped at an airport because of your name? I like that. What a strange question. Can you be stopped? I think if you got a Joe Blogg's name, then you're less likely to get stopped, aren't you? But if you've got a name like me, for instance, Love Dev Barpagan, I hope I said that right, then maybe you'll be stopped because it's a very unusual name. And it's quite hard to pinpoint where my name is from. I mean, if I said to you, hello, my name's Love Dev, you'd be like, oh, I've never heard that name before. Unless you know the name Dev, which is a short word for divine. There you go. You learn something new every day. And I think it's another word for spiritual. So basically, my name means love God. I think that's what my name means. But I'm an atheist. I've never been stopped because of my name. I've had people not pronounce it properly, or they'll say, "Oh, did I say your name right?" Or "Oh, I hope I said it right." I think I'm not going to pick specific religious groups, but if you have a certain name, I think you are more likely to probably be stopped. I don't know why I'm saying that. Like, let's take Patel, for instance. There's a lot of Patels out there. If you was at an airport and they called out your name, can Mr. Patel please come to the desk? You'd get about 20, 30 blokes there, wouldn't you? So you'd have to give the full name. And a lot of Indian people don't have middle names. Now, this is true. I don't have a middle name. And I know a lot of English people do. Like, white. That's basically trying to say to you. White, even black people have middle names. I don't have middle name. I think middle names are confusing. Like, I don't see the point in a middle name. You're never going to use it. So what's the point? It's true, isn't it? Have you ever met someone who's used their middle name, their full middle name? I've never seen that. Maybe there's material in that, God knows. I want to know what this person has said, though. They have basically said, I am always stopped by the automatic E-gate at the UK airports. That's the Europe gate, for those of you listening outside the UK, and I have a lot of listeners outside. When returning home, and I'm told to seek assistance at one of the booths. So when he comes back from a holiday last week, I asked, why does this always happen? They said it's because of your name, XXX Smith. So he doesn't want to give his first name out. So his surname is Smith. And then Smith, there's your clue, pal. That's what they said, Smith. So why did they stop him? Because he was a Smith? I mean, Smith is obviously comes from medieval times, I believe. From blacksmith, that's where the name Smith comes from. Maybe I'm wrong, but I do believe that is right. Yeah, why would you stop somebody if their name is Smith? I don't understand that. Anyway, he says, he gave me a condescending look and he moved me on. I have no idea, but I can only assume this is crap, basically. Has anyone else experienced this? That's what he's saying. Before I read comments from other people, I've never particularly experienced it with my own name. That is strange. Oh, I think I get what he's trying to say now. So anyone could be a Smith, can't they? So are they trying to assume that he's not who he says he is? And he's made up a name? I don't know. It's a strange question, isn't it? It's like, why would airport security do that? I feel like sometimes they just do it to mess you about. Or they have to look like they're doing something sometimes. You know how you get pulled or you get stopped and they want to pat you down. I'm always getting patted down. I wonder why. Maybe they have to do it. So like one every third or fourth person, they have to do a proper check on them. Unless they suspect something. Maybe it's the beard and the brown face. I'm not too sure. Yeah, I'm going to read the comments and see what other people have said. Someone said possibly share a name with somebody else on a watch list. That, I don't think of that. Maybe there's a Smith out there who's the police are after and they know what they look like because they've got pictures of him. God knows. There is someone who was born on the same day as me in the same hospital and we share the same name. My mum and her mum have been discussing baby names and thought it was funny if they chose the same name first, then discovered they had the same surname. That is mental, innit? Had to always give my middle name when going to A&E until I got moved away. Imagine if your parents done that as a joke. Oh, mums are like that though, innit? Mums bond with other mums. Oh, what you calling your son? I think I'm going to call him Chanel. Well, her. It could be a him. I'm going to call her Chanel. Oh, I love that name. I think I'll call mine Chanel. What's your surname? Perfume. And mine. Chanel Perfume. Imagine that. But there are parents out there that will give their kids unusual names. As long as those names do not sound like a stripper's name. Like Crystal. I've named my daughter Crystal. She's going to be a great stripper when she grows up. Imagine that. Yeah, that's a good question, though. I think most people have got it right. Maybe there is where airport security have to do some kind of clearance. You've got to check somebody's name. So they'll obviously look at the date of birth on your passport. Maybe look at your address. Do we have our addresses on passports? I can't remember. They're obviously trained. These guys are trained, man, so they know who they're looking for. Unless he doesn't look like a Smith. Like, he looks like a foreigner, but his name's Smith. His actual real name is Abdul Labadidi. Abdul Labadidi. God, I don't know, man. I don't know. I like that question, though. It's a good question. I like it when people call me up, like call handlers. Sometimes, most times, people get my name right, or they'll wait for me to say it. They'll go, "Hello, is that Mr. Parker?" And I'm like, "Yeah, Love Dev." And like, oh right, and you can hear the relief when I say my name, because then they try and copy it and go, "Love Dev." Okay, yeah, I've got it now. I've got it. Yeah, I'm glad I've got an unusual name, to be honest. I think it kind of makes me stand out a little bit. If I had a typical name like, I don't know, Jagdeep or something, Jagdeep Singh, I don't think I'd see myself as a comedian. I'm not sure. Do you feel like if you got a certain name for yourself, you are that person? Do you know what I'm trying to say? So I'm not being a hypocrite here. I know the name has died out, but if your name was Karen, but you really are a Karen, would that suit you? Do you know what I mean? This is just an example. If there are any Karens out there, I'm sure you're lovely. Did the Karen thing come from... It came from the Tiger documentary, didn't it? What was it called now? Summit Tigers, wasn't it? With that weird dude who owned a big, massive tiger zoo in the USA. I'm sure that's where it came from, didn't it? I could be wrong. But we have got diners in Birmingham, in the UK. We've got one where I live. It's actually Solihull. It's on the border of Birmingham. And they've got a Karen's Diner. So it's a diner and the staff are basically rude to you. I should get a job there. I think I'd be great at that job, but I don't know. I don't know what you think. How about we do a no stupid questions? I'm going to move swiftly on so I can get on with the rest of my day. This question has been posted by Suspicious Pull, and they have asked, what is the best way to fall asleep as soon as possible? Before I read the rest of his comment, the best way, I think for me, it used to be reading. I used to read a lot, right? I don't read anymore, man. I've got so many books, I don't even touch them. Like, I bought a book, it's an Adam Bloom book, is a UK stand-up comic, and he basically just gives tips on comedy and writing and stuff like that. I've only read the first chapter. That's all I've read. I haven't read nothing else. I mean, I think it was because I read it, and it was basically, a part of it was about joke writing, you know, how to get to a punchline quicker. And I thought, okay, you know what, I'm going to look at my stuff and see if I can shorten it and stuff. I haven't even got around to do that. And I haven't even picked the book back up. But when I was younger, I used to read a lot. I used to love reading. And I've kind of like stopped. I don't know why, to be honest. I don't know whether because of technology now. We've got mobiles and stuff like that. That could be one of the reasons. Yeah, for me it was reading and listening to the music, like the radio. I used to love listening to live radio when it was big, before podcast, Spotify and all that came out. And I always used to fall asleep listening to, you know, the UK top 10 or the top 40 hits. That's what used to help me fall asleep, really. They have said, so I've been trying to get some sleep for the past 2 hours. However, no matter how much I close my eyes and try not to move, I can't fall asleep. Could somebody please give me advice? Well, I've kind of told you what I would do. Not that you're listening to this podcast, but sometimes I think, why do I do these stupid things? It's because it's material in it. So, I'm going to read some of the comments. One person has wrote down, the only thing that helps me to fall asleep when I can't is to say random words in my head over and over. It is called cognitive shuffling. Legit, only thing that works for me. Each word isn't related to the one before, just random talking in my brain. It's enough to distract my brain from all the running thoughts and still allows me to semi-focus on something. I only remember or recall getting through a few words before the next thing. I know I'm waking up. Oh, I've never heard that one before. Sometimes I do. Maybe I do that without realizing. So if I'm in bed, I will think about material. I do this a lot now. So I'll think of material, think of bits, like I'm writing in my head, and then I fall asleep. So maybe I'm already doing that, but I'm doing it better because I'm actually thinking about material. But that doesn't help, because when you fall asleep, you'll think of a great bit before you go to sleep, and then you go to sleep, wake up, and you'll be like, oh, what was that thing I wrote last night? That was funny. Which is why I love Mitch Hedberg. He's got this joke, right? He says whenever he's trying to fall asleep, he thinks of material. And when he thinks of something great, he can't be bothered to get up and write it down. So he has to convince himself that what he thought of wasn't funny. I love that. It's like a comic joke. It's a great bit of material. So one person has put down, I deal with this a lot. What works for me is just making a dream scenario. Now that's something else I do. I pretend to think of something, like let's make up a story in my head, and then just keep thinking about it, and then I fall asleep. I do that, actually. They said they just put yourself somewhere else. Basically, tell yourself a wonderful story that you would love to do, and it knocks me out. Get real descriptive in your head. I think that's what we all do, innit? Is that where the phrase counting sheep comes from? So the first comment where the guy says you repeat the word, that's got to be the same thing, isn't it? Where you count sheep and you fall asleep. I had a friend who had a great joke. He used to do comedy. It's one of those jokes that you wish you wrote. His joke was, what was it again? He said he works in a slaughterhouse for sheep, and his friend told him, "I don't know how you sleep at night." That is such a great joke. That's one of my favourite one-liners I've ever heard. Yeah, that was no stupid questions. Yeah, I feel like I'm a bit rusty today. I don't know why. I'll be honest, guys. I'm trying to. So we get a certain amount of recording time, right, to do these podcasts and stuff. And I feel like I need to make up for that time. That's what it is. I want to use it all before it runs out. Funny enough, it runs out tomorrow and I get another 3 hours recording time. And I thought, no, I want to try and finish it or get as close as I can. I've done 3 hours. I've spent my $18 or whatever it is on this podcast. Let's finish off the podcast with a weird news story. Yes, it is all the way from USA. USA, you've done it again. You guys have done a hat trick, man. You've scored 3 in the last 3 podcast episodes I've done. It's always been the USA. Now, it's not like I'm looking at just USA weird news stories. It just happens to be USA. The title got me straight away, and I thought, I wonder what this is about. We're going to have to see. Here is the title for today's weird news story. Orange County man arrested for trying to shoot down a sheriff's helicopter after a birthday party. I'm guessing just from the title, right? I haven't read it, but I bet it was his birthday. He got drunk. He had a gun. He saw a helicopter and he shot it. That's probably what the story is. Let's have a look. A man was arrested on a federal grand jury indictment that alleges he repeatedly fired shots at an Orange County Sheriff's Department helicopter in March after his birthday party ended acrimoniously, according to federal prosecutors. Justin Derrick Jennings. Oh, he's got a middle name. Shout out to Justin Derrick Jennings. I wonder if people call him Derrick. You alright, Derrick? He was 39. Happy birthday, buddy. From Laguna Niguel. I probably said that wrong. Has been charged with 1 count of attempting to damage, destroy, or disable an aircraft after a chaotic incident on March the 9th. Oh my God, he's a Pisces like me. I know what happened there, man. He just couldn't handle the drink and he acted like a right plunker. When I used to drink, I used to act like a right plunker, and that's one of the reasons I stopped. Anyway, according to a statement from the US Department of Justice, the court document said that Jennings, I'm going to call him Derrick, that Derrick and his family was celebrating his birthday party. God, he must have had a proper birthday party, innit? That he was allegedly drinking when he became enraged. What was you drinking, man, to become so angry? On your birthday as well? Maybe he got angry because he thought, I'm 39, I'm going to be 40 soon, but I still want to hold on to my 30s. Maybe that's what it was. As his outburst escalated, family members in attendance left the home, the court release said. After most of his family left, Derrick allegedly removed a rifle from his gun safe and fired an entire magazine worth of ammunition inside the home. Wow. He's had more than alcohol, innit? This reportedly caused the rest of the family to leave the home. I'm not surprised. Bloody hell, Dad's gone on a mad one. Who's going to be at this party? Do you know what I mean? He's frigging shooting everywhere in the house. Wow. I'm surprised they didn't call the police straight away. That's dangerous, man. I'm glad we don't have guns in the UK. Sorry, USI people, but guns are a nightmare, innit? At this point, OCSD, I'm guessing that's the department, deputies and a department helicopter responded to the scene. Right. They called a helicopter on him. So Derrick allegedly then went to the home's second story and began shooting a rifle into the sky, firing only when the helicopter was visible to him. The statement continued. The shooting continued intermittently for at least 20 minutes. Wow. Derek eventually exited the home and surrendered after speaking with a deputy. Investigators seized 2 revolvers, 2 handguns, 2 rifles, along with a multitude of rounds of ammunition from Derek's home during a search. Prosecutors said. They also found a bullet casing scattered throughout the floor of the home and 2 magazines and a box of ammunition. This guy's got the full gear in it. He's like Rambo. It was found on a couch beneath the window at which Derek was allegedly firing. The Department of Justice statement said, if he's convicted, he faces a maximum stationary sentence of 20 years in a federal prison. So both the FBI and the OCSD, whoever they are, insisted investigating in the matter. That's one way to celebrate your birthday, innit? Shoot down the helicopter. Yeah, happy birthday, Derek. Let's hope you don't get locked up. You'll be there for 39 years, mate. Was it worth it? Probably not. He's obviously got some other issues going on, I think. There's a lot more to that story. You know, could be mental health issues. I don't know. Could be something going on in the family. But imagine shooting your own family like that in your own house. Man, how pissed do you have to be to do that? God knows. Anyway, folks, thanks for listening.